Okay, let's look at the calendar. It is February 5th, 2026. And I think it is safe to say that if you are working in the digital space, if you are a creator, a community builder, a brand, or honestly just someone trying to keep a small business alive on the internet, this has been quite literally a week from hell.
Week from hell might actually be a bit of an understatement. It feels more like we are living through the first 20 minutes of a disaster movie. You know, that part where all the warning lights start blinking red at the same time?
Yeah, exactly.
We are looking at a convergence of events that feels almost scripted. You have the physical reality, this massive, historic winter storm sweeping across the central United States, colliding head-on with the digital infrastructure we have spent the last decade convincing ourselves was invincible.
It really is the perfect storm metaphor coming to life, isn't it? But instead of just snow piling up in driveways, we are seeing the backbone of the internet buckling. We've got Oracle data centers going dark.
Which is the domino that tipped everything over.
The first big one. Right. And then you have the cascading failures. TikTok is flickering in and out like a bad light bulb. X, formerly Twitter, is barely functional for millions of users. People are logging in to see 0 views, they can't post, or worse, they're getting flagged for review on content that is completely benign. It is absolute chaos out there.
And amidst all that technical chaos, which is stressful enough on its own, there is a political firestorm brewing alongside it. We have allegations of censorship flying between the governor of California and Washington, lawsuits being threatened. It's messy.
So messy.
But, you know, while everyone is panicking about the servers being down or arguing about whether it's a software bug or a shadow ban, I think there is a much bigger signal cutting through the noise.
That is exactly what we are here to unpack today, because if you look at the stack of sources we've pulled for this deep dive, from the frantic news reports about the outages this week, to the new State of the Creator Economy report from Circle that just dropped, to the demand data from the Business of Fashion, there is a very clear, very urgent message emerging.
There is. And if I had to summarize the thousands of pages of data and analysis we've looked at for this, I'd say this. February 2026 marks the official end of the rental era of the creator economy.
The rental era. That is a sticky phrase. I want you to break that down for me before we go in further.
It's the harsh reality we've been ignoring for too long. I mean, if you are building a business solely on social media algorithms, on land owned by ByteDance or Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, you are a tenant.
You're a renter.
You are renting your audience. You are building your house on quicksand. And this week, the sand didn't just shift, it collapsed.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. This isn't a tutorial on how to get more likes or how to hack the algorithm or how to go viral. This is a survival guide.
A wake-up call.
A wake-up call, yeah. We are going to look at why the viral video model is effectively dying and how the smart money is moving toward what the Business of Fashion is calling the coming of age of the industry.
We're going to connect some dots that might seem unrelated at first. We'll look at the horror stories from this week's outage, specifically the financials, which are absolutely terrifying when you dig into them. Then we'll pivot to some fascinating new data from Circle showing that 88% of community builders are now relying on memberships. And finally, we'll look at why 70% of major news publishers are terrified of creators and the aggressive moves they're taking to fight back.
And we promise to end with a solution. We synthesized a specific funnel for 2026 survival based on all this research. Social to email to membership to scale.
The escape route.
The escape route. But before we get to that, we have to look at the wreckage. We have to talk about what just happened to TikTok and X this week.
We do. Because this outage wasn't just a glitch. It was a revelation of fragility. It showed us exactly who holds the power. And spoiler alert, it isn't the creators.
So let's set the scene properly. It's earlier this week. A severe winter storm hits the U.S. grid. And suddenly, Oracle's data centers lose power. Now, for the average listener who might just use these apps for entertainment, why does an Oracle data center in Texas losing power matter so much to a teenager dancing on TikTok in New York?
It's a great question, and it speaks to the hidden plumbing of the internet. To understand the connection, you have to remember the geopolitical architecture of TikTok in the U.S. As of 2026, TikTok in the U.S. isn't just TikTok anymore. It's a complex entity called the TikTok-USDS joint venture.
Right. This was the result of Project Texas, the compromise to keep the app legal. I remember all that drama.
Exactly. To keep the app from being banned a few years back due to national security concerns regarding China, they created this firewall. The rule was, U.S. user data has to sit on U.S. servers controlled by a U.S. entity. And who provides those servers?
Oracle.
The ownership structure of this joint venture is roughly 80% American and global investors. Oracle, Silver Lake, NGX, and only about 20% by ByteDance. So when an Oracle data center in Texas freezes over and loses power, the platform's brain in the U.S. effectively shuts down.
It's ironic, isn't it? We spent all that time worrying about the Chinese ownership, but it was a Texas winter storm knocking out an American server farm that actually brought the app down.
It is deeply ironic.
Yeah.
And the shutdown was severe. We're seeing reports of U.S. users unable to post, engagement dropping to absolute zero because the recommendation engine couldn't pull data, and this weird phenomenon where benign content was getting stuck in under-review purgatory.
Okay, that purgatory is where things got really complicated. Because when the algorithm breaks, it doesn't just stop showing videos, it starts acting erratically.
Right. See, when these massive recommendation algorithms lose connectivity to their back-end databases, the trust and safety layers, they default to safety. If the AI can't verify a video is safe because the server is offline, it just holds it.
It flags it.
It flags it. It puts it in a queue. It basically says, I don't know what this is, so I'm not touching it.
But in the current highly charged political climate, a hold doesn't look like a technical safety measure to the end user. It looks like suppression. It looks like censorship.
Precisely. And this is where we have to be very careful and just report the facts as they are, because it got heated fast. You had California Governor Gavin Newsom coming out and launching an immediate review. He didn't mince words.
No, he really didn't. He suggested that these technical issues might actually be intentional suppression of anti-Trump content following TikTok's effective transfer to this U.S.-led group.
Right. And we need to look at his argument impartially. It links back to that ownership group we just mentioned. Oracle's leadership, specifically Larry Ellison and the investor groups involved, have been perceived as Trump-aligned or conservative-leaning in the past.
So he's connecting those dots.
He is. Newsom cited reports that specific keywords like Epstein were being blocked, and videos about the killing of Alex Pretty were remaining under review while other content went through. He's suggesting a pattern.
But then on the other side of the coin, you have the joint venture vehemently denying this. Oracle spokesperson Michael Egbert came out on the record to address this head-on.
He did. He was very clear, stating, "This is a weather-related power outage. Hardware failed. Generators failed. It's not a conspiracy, it's a server crash."
And impartially speaking, looking at the technical evidence of the storm, the server crash is a verified fact. The power was out. The cleaning systems did fail.
They did.
Yeah.
But here is the nuance that matters for our listener, particularly if you are trying to run a business on these platforms. Both things can feel true to the user. The server crash is a technical fact, but the result for the user was indistinguishable from a political ban.
That's a great point.
I mean, if you're a creator and your views drop 90% overnight,
Yeah.
or your video about a sensitive news topic won't upload, you don't care if it's a storm or a censor. You don't care if it's Larry Ellison or Mother Nature. You just know your business is broken.
That uncertainty is the risk we're talking about. You are caught in the middle of a battle between billionaires, politicians, and the weather, and you have zero control. You can't call customer service. You can't fix the server. You are just helpless.
And that feeling of helplessness is what is driving this new era. We have a couple of specific examples from the source material that really drive this home. The human cost of this outage. Because when we say outage, we usually think of inconvenience. Oh, I can't watch cat videos right now. But for these people, it was a financial disaster.
Yeah, the story of Dylan Page, known as News Daddy, really stuck with me. Now, just a context set from anyone who doesn't know him, this isn't a small creator. He has or had 18.2 million followers.
Right. That's not a person. That's a media company.
It's the size of the population of the Netherlands. It's huge.
It's massive reach. He is effectively a broadcast network. In the old world, he would be a media mogul. And yet, this week, he announced he was temporarily leaving TikTok.
He cited dramatic view decreases and what he felt was censorship or suppression. But here is where it gets really interesting and honestly terrifying for anyone aspiring to be a creator. We have data from Coal Square regarding his financials. Despite having 18 million followers and despite generating millions in earned media value for the platform, he claimed he was making about £10 per million views.
Hold on. I want to make sure the listener really heard that because my jaw hit the floor when I read it. £10.
£10.
That's about $13.50 US for 1 million human beings watching your work.
It sounds impossible, right? Like a typo or a joke. But when you look at the source data on TikTok's payout rates for the Creator Fund in 2026, which are listed as typically between 2 to 4 cents per 1,000 views, it tracks.
It completely tracks. And it highlights the absolute volatility and unfairness of the rental model. You have this massive asset, 18 million followers, but you don't own the distribution, and the monetization is pennies on the dollar. You are generating millions of dollars of ad inventory for TikTok by keeping people on the app, and they are tipping you $13.
That is not a business model.
That is not a business model. That is exploitation. It's insane.
He said something powerful in his exit statement. Sometimes I feel like I'm at war with the platform that is supposed to be my ally.
That is the quote of the week for me. At war with your ally. Think about any other business supply chain. If your supplier was actively fighting you, hiding your product, and paying you fractions of a penny, you would fire them immediately. You would sue them.
Yeah, you'd be gone.
But in the rental era, you can't fire the landlord. You just have to take it.
And then you have the case of Bisan Oda, the award-winning journalist. In the midst of all this chaos and the crackdown, whether technical or political, she was reportedly permanently banned.
So you have one creator, Dylan, being demonetized and demoralized, and another Bisan being deplatformed entirely, wiped off the map.
These aren't hobbyists. These are media entities. And they were wiped out or neutralized overnight.
Which brings us to the core thesis of this deep dive. If Dylan Page can't make a living with 18 million followers, the model is broken. The math simply does not work. If you need the population of a small country to watch you just to buy a sandwich, something is wrong.
Or rather, the old model is broken.
Right. The viral model, the ad revenue model. This actually transitions perfectly to the Business of Fashion editor's letter we looked at. They're calling this moment the coming of age of the creator economy.
Right. We're moving out of adolescence. Adolescence was about going viral, chasing clout, getting the blue check mark, and influencing. Adulthood is about operational maturity. It's about profit and loss. It's about building a real, sustainable business.
The numbers back this up. We pulled stats from DemandSage that show the creator economy is now worth over $191 billion. There are 207 million creators globally. But here's the kicker that shows the shift. 46.7% of them are now full-time.
That's a huge shift. It's almost half. This is a job, not a gig.
It is a job, but it's a brutal one. The data shows that, on average, it takes 6.5 months of consistent work to earn your first dollar.
Wow. Over half a year of working for free, basically.
Pretty much. And as we saw with Dylan Page, even when you make it big, the platform payouts are unreliable. But there's another threat looming that makes this coming of age even more urgent. It's not just the platforms breaking. It's what they are filling up with.
You're talking about the slop.
I am talking about the AI slop. The source material from Mean CEO and the Reuters Institute highlights this vividly. The internet is filling up with infinite machine-generated noise.
There's that one statistic about TikTok hosting over 1 billion AI videos, and the example of the rabbits on a trampoline. I can't get that out of my head. It's glasses. The rabbits on a trampoline. Sounds cute, but it represents existential dread for a human creator. You have these AI-generated videos, literally just AI rabbits bouncing, getting 25 million views. It's effortless content, infinite supply.
And zero cost to produce.
Exactly. If you are a human creator trying to compete on volume or spectacle, you will lose. You cannot outpublish a server farm that can generate 10,000 videos an hour. The machine can always make more rabbits. And because the supply of content is going to infinity, the price of attention, the ad rates, will go to zero. And it's not just TikTok. The Mean CEO report flagged Google Discover. They're using AI to generate headlines now, and they're messing it up badly.
Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
They're taking benign stories, like a simple software bug fix in a tech product, and the AI turns them into dramatic clickbait headlines that completely misrepresent the truth just to get the click.
So it's actively eroding trust.
It erodes trust in the entire ecosystem. You no longer know if what you're reading is real or if it's just some AI trying to trick you into clicking.
So let's look at the battlefield. On one side, you have algorithms that might shadow ban you because of a snowstorm or a political whim. On the other side, you have AI generating infinite competition and eroding trust with fake headlines. It's a tough spot.
Exactly. Which brings us to the conclusion of this section. Trust is the new currency. In a sea of AI, noise, and algorithmic instability, human connection is the premium product. It is the only thing the AI cannot forge perfectly.
Right, that real, authentic connection.
But, and this is the key, you can't build deep human connection on a platform that pays you 13 teensol for 1 million views and might delete your account tomorrow. It's just not possible.
So we know the problem. The rental era is dangerous. The viral era is being automated. What is the solution? Because we promised a solution.
The solution is ownership. And we have some incredible data from Circle's 2026 report that shows exactly how the smartest creators are pivoting right now.
This report was fascinating. It really felt like looking at a blueprint for the future. The headline statistic for 2026 is that 88% of community builders now monetize through paid memberships.
That number blew my mind. Think back to 2025, just last year. It was only 54%. That is a massive swing in just 1 year. It tells us that memberships are no longer just an option or a nice-to-have side hustle. They are becoming the foundation of the business model.
Why do you think that shift happened so fast? Was it just the fear of outages? Or is it something deeper?
I think it's a direct reaction to the volatility we just discussed. The Circle report notes that 32% of creators cite unreliable social reach as a major strategic concern. They are tired of the anxiety. They are tired of waking up and checking their phone to see if the algorithm loves them or hates them today.
Yeah, that constant roller coaster.
They are realizing that 1,000 true fans paying a subscription is infinitely safer and more profitable than 1 million followers watching for free.
The report also had this interesting insight about the role of social media. It said social is only for discovery.
Yes. This is a critical mindset shift. 67% of members find communities via social. So you don't abandon TikTok or X. You don't delete the apps. You just change how you view them. They aren't the destination. They are the billboard on the highway.
I like that analogy.
You catch their attention there, and then you immediately move them off the highway and into your store, your own space.
One thing that stood out to me in the Circle stats was the size of these profitable communities. I think there's a massive misconception that you need thousands of members to make it work.
Completely false. And this is the most encouraging part of the data for anyone listening who feels overwhelmed. It shows that 44% of profitable communities have between 1 and 100 members.
Wait, really? Only 100 members? That seems so achievable.
Think about the math. The most common price point for these memberships is between $26 and $50 a month. Let's be conservative. If you have 100 people paying $50 a month, it's $5,000 a month. That is $60,000 a year.
That's a median household salary in many places, with just 100 people.
Exactly. And you don't need to fight the algorithm to talk to them. You don't need to worry about Oracle's power supply. You have their email. You have their credit card. You have a relationship. You can email them and say, hey, the server is down. Here's the content. You are immune to the chaos.
That is incredibly liberating. It means you don't need to be Dylan Page with 18 million followers. You just need 100 people who really care about what you do. But what are they paying for? If content is free on TikTok, why pay $50?
They aren't paying for content. They are paying for results. The report says 69% of creators say member transformation is their top growth strategy, not content volume.
So it's not about making more videos.
No. It's about helping your members achieve a specific result. Learning a skill, losing weight, organizing their finances, becoming a better parent, whatever your niche is, that's what they pay for. They pay for the shortcut. They pay for the community of other people trying to do the same thing. They pay for access to you.
There was also a note about capping growth. 12% of creators are intentionally limiting how many members they let in. That feels so counterintuitive to the growth at all costs mindset of social media.
Which is brilliant. It creates scarcity. It maintains intimacy. It says this isn't a commodity. This is a special club. It's the antithesis of the AI slop model where everything is infinite and cheap. It reintroduces value through limitation. It makes people want in more.
So the individual creators are professionalizing. They're building walls around their business to protect themselves. But they aren't the only ones watching this shift. The big media companies, the publishers are watching too, and they are not happy.
No, they are not. This is the Empire Strikes Back part of our story. We looked at the Reuters Institute and PugPig Trends report for 2026, and the anxiety in the publishing world is palpable.
The stat here is that 70% of news publishers are worried that creators are taking time and attention away from them. 70%. That's a huge majority.
They should be worried. We just talked about how younger audiences are getting news from TikTok when it's working. The personality-led news is winning over institution-led news. People trust faces, not logos. But it's not just about attention. It's about talent.
Right. The brain drain. 39% of publishers fear losing their top talent to the creator economy.
Put yourself in the shoes of a star journalist at the New York Times or the BBC. You see creators on Substack or Circle making 5 times your salary. They have total editorial freedom. They don't have to sit in budget meetings. They don't have to worry about the corporate layoffs. Why would you stay?
It's a pretty compelling case to leave.
It's a no-brainer for a lot of them. They realize their personal brand is more valuable than the company's masthead.
So what are the publishers doing? Because they aren't just going to roll over and die. They have deep pockets.
They are adopting a strategy of, if you can't beat them, co-opt them. The report says 50% of publishers plan to partner with independent creators for distribution, and 31% plan to just hire them directly.
We're seeing this happen already. The Daily Mail launched something called DMG New Media.
Yeah, they went out and hired 60 young creators to make vertical video. They are trying to industrialize the vibe. They want the aesthetic of the creator economy, but with the control of a corporation.
And CNN is launching CNN creators with a studio in Doha to capture the youth vibe.
It's fascinating to watch. You have these legacy giants trying to reverse engineer authenticity. The Independent hired a YouTuber, Adam Cleary, as their creative director. They are realizing that the voice from nowhere, that objective, distant news anchor voice, doesn't work on TikTok. You need a face. You need a personality.
But is it working? Can a massive corporation really capture that creator energy? Or does it just feel like Steve Buscemi saying, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
That's the tension, isn't it? Publishers have the capital. They have the legal teams. They have the archives. But individual creators have the trust. They have the authenticity. When you see a video from the Daily Mail, you know it's a corporate product. When you see a video from Dylan Page, you feel like he's talking to you.
That's a difference you can't really fake.
You can't. The risk for creators is that they get bought out or drowned out by these massive, well-funded creator studios.
So if you are a creator listening to this, you are being squeezed from both sides. On one side, the platforms are breaking, the algorithms are volatile, and the payouts are $13. On the other side, the big publishers are coming for your audience with massive budgets and armies of hired creators.
It sounds scary, but I actually think it clarifies the mission. It makes the choice very binary. You either get crushed or you secure your independence. You need an escape route from the rental ecosystem.
Which brings us to the how-to. We promised a funnel for 2026 survival. Based on everything we've read, the outages, the circle stats, the publisher wars, what is the path?
It's a 4-stage funnel, and you have to execute them in order. You can't skip steps. It goes social, email, membership, scale.
Okay, let's unpack these one by one. Stage 1, social. You called this the trap earlier, but now we're calling it the start of the funnel.
Well, it's a trap if you stay there. But let's call it the net. You have to be there. You need TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn to cast the net and find people. But, and this is critical, you treat it purely as discovery.
Right, the top of the funnel.
The very top. You do not rely on the ad revenue. Remember the $0 through 2 CPM? That money is a bonus, a tip jar. It was not a salary. And you do not build your house there. You assume the power will go out tomorrow. You operate with a paranoia that the platform will disappear.
So you catch them in the net. Stage 2, email. The bridge.
This is non-negotiable. The moment you catch someone's interest in the net, you move into the bridge. You need their email address. The source material mentions Substack as a key player here. Even the Financial Times is launching a free Substack. Why? Because email is the only algorithm-free channel left.
It's the cockroach of the internet. It survives everything.
Exactly. It's decentralized. It's reliable. If you have their email, you can talk to them even if Oracle goes down. You own that line of communication. It is the bridge between the chaotic public square and your private business.
Okay, makes sense. So you get them on the email list. Then, stage 3, membership. The castle.
This is the circle model we talked about. This is where you convert the renters into buyers. You aren't just selling content here. As we saw, content is becoming a commodity thanks to AI. You are selling community and outcomes.
That's the key word again, outcomes.
It is. You are selling access to you and access to other people like them. You're building your fortress on land you own with a moat around it.
And the pricing is key here, right? We talk about the $50 mark?
Yes, accessible pricing, $25 to $50 a month. You want recurring revenue stability. You want a base that covers your mortgage and your grocery bills. This is the foundation that lets you sleep at night when the storm hits. If TikTok bans you, but you have 200 members paying you on your own platform, your income doesn't change.
You are insulated from the shock.
Completely.
Yeah.
And finally, stage 4, scale. The summit.
Okay, what's this?
This is where you layer the high-ticket items on top. Coaching, courses, retreats, mastermind groups. The Circle stats show that 53% of community builders sell courses, and 51% offer coaching in addition to memberships.
So you don't pitch the $2,000 coaching package on TikTok?
Never. You don't try to sell a $2,000 coaching package on TikTok to a stranger who just watched a 15-second video. That's inefficient and annoying.
Hmm.
You sell it to the member who is already in the castle, who's been paying you $50 a month, who knows you, and who already trusts you. It's a much easier conversation.
And the best part, the data says 48% of creators run this entire stack solo, just by themselves.
It is possible. It's hard work, but it's your work. It's your business. You aren't clocking in for an algorithm. You're building equity in something you own.
So what does this all mean if we zoom out and look at the whole picture?
It means we are witnessing the great professionalization. The era of accidental fame is over. The era of the lottery winner who just happened to post a viral dance is ending. The era of intentional business design is here.
The outages this week were a warning shot.
They absolutely were. A very loud, very clear warning shot. If you are listening to this and you are still 100% dependent on an algorithm owned by a conglomerate or a joint venture of conglomerates, you are vulnerable. You are one power outage, one political dispute, or one algorithm tweak away from zero.
It brings me back to that final provocative thought we wanted to leave everyone with. In 2026, the question isn't how many followers do you have?
No, that is a vanity metric. It's fool's gold. The question is, how many members do you own? Because if the internet went dark tomorrow, like it almost did for TikTok users this week, would you still have a business? Or would you just have a blank screen?
That is something to chew on. Start digging your own well before the next storm hits.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Stay safe out there, both in the real storm and the digital one. We'll see you next time.